Hello everybody. I want to give you a very short introduction into Python. I will limit myself only on a few things we need for material modeling. Okay, so let's start. Here you can see the Spider program. Okay, and this is our code editor or program for writing our Python code. And I will start with the most simple thing, and this is the print command. So this is what we can use for printing data. And for example, when I want to print a string like hello, I have to do this in this way. In order to run this code, I can use this button here or the function key F number 5. Okay, so I did it, and you can see here is the output of my small program. Alternatively, I can define a variable and I can put a number to this variable, for example 10, and here I can print then n, run it again, and here you can see 10. Okay, that's all about the print command. So next we are going to do is a loop definition. So a typical loop in Python is defined by the for command. And here we have a counter. This is necessary, okay, for e in range. So here we have to put. And now we have to give the range for e. And usually we say 0, okay, and then, for example, 4. Now we can use our print command, we already defined here, and move it to the 4th column. This is very important, otherwise it will not work. So, and then of course we print here not the n, we print here the e. Okay, yeah, that's all. So no n4, nothing. The important thing is only that we have here 4 empty signs and here the double point. That's all. When I run it, you will see here the output of my print command 4 times. We start at 0 and we stop at 3. So means we have here 4 times this print command. In order to switch out of this loop definition, we just go back in the first column. And for example, when I put here again a print command, okay, and run the code again, you see I'm no longer inside this loop definition. Okay, so that's all. Okay, this is a typical loop definition. Okay, let's move on with array definitions. So an array usually is just something like a collector for numbers. Okay, so we have 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, 3, 4, whatever dimensional arrays. This is what we can define. I will start with the most simple one in the beginning. I call the array A, and in order to work with arrays I have to use the NumPy package. So, and the NumPy package or class has certain commands or methods, and one is this array method. Okay, so and here I can put, by using this square brackets, just numbers. For example, 0 and 1. This would be a very, very small 1-dimensional array. So now you can see here I still have a problem, undefined name. So, and this is typical for Python. We have to import the package. And the package in that case is NumPy. And we use a shortcut for NumPy and call it np. And this np, this is the same I used here. And again, array is just a method or a function of np. So everything should be fine, and I can run my code. So for the output, nothing happens because I didn't printed any put it any print command. But here I can just type in the A and I see the array. Otherwise, I have here a very nice environment. I have this variable explorer, and here you can see the array A, and by double click you see what's inside this array. Okay. So we want to go a bit further with these arrays. We can have much more flexibility when we just start with an array where we put zeros in the beginning. Okay, and now I have to give the size of the array. And for example, I will say that I have 2, or let's say 4 rows or lines, 4 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so now here we have a problem with our syntax, and this problem comes from here, okay, because this bracket was missing, so, and here was a misinterpretation in line number 10, but now we fixed it. Okay, so we have defined an empty array. I run it again, and we look here how it looks like. Okay, 4 lines, 2 columns filled with zeros. That's all. Now we have the possibility to fill the array in our loop definition. Okay, so instead of printing my data here, I want to fill the array in this loop definition. Important is that when we use arrays, we have to use these square brackets. Okay, and now I have to give the line and the column. I would say the line should be the count of my loop, the E, and the column should be first column, and the first column is column number 0. Okay, and now here I put just the E on this column, and when I run this and check my array here, I see in the first column 0, 1, 2, 3, no longer the zeros. And of course now for the second column, which is column number 1, okay, because we start to count at 0, I can create, for example, here the squares. Run it again, check the array and see, okay, in the second column here we have the squares of E. Okay, so far. Now I want to use, for creating the squares, a user-defined function. Okay, and this is also not complicated, just a definition. Okay, and the name should be square, and the internal variable I will use should be j. Okay, important that I do not forget this double point. Now I'm again in column number 4, and I just calculate my square by, let's say, m is equal j multiplied by j. And then I have to give the return command, because the return value should be the value of m. So this is my definition of a function, user function. Okay, and now I'm able here in line number 16 to use this function. Okay, so I just use square and give to square the current value e. So means the e now will be given to the j, then we create our m, and the return value is the m. So means the m goes back to our array fields. Okay, let's try. So everything is running, this looks fine. And here again we have our squares. And these squares now are built by our own function. Okay, so now we can create a bit more flexibility in our code, and I will use this here and put it before my array creation. And now I can use for the number of the lines, instead of the 4, of course, the n. That's not a big deal. And here I use also the n, and now I should not longer have 4 lines, I should have 10 lines. Running again and check my array. Okay, now I have 10 lines. From 0 to 9, 10 lines, and I create all the squares here by my user-defined function. This looks nice. And finally, what I want to do is to create a plot, an XY plot. Okay, and this is also not a big deal because my data are already on this array A, and I can use this data for my plotting. Again, I have to import a package, the plotting package, and this is the matplotlib package, and from this matplotlib package we just use the pyplot, and again we use a shortcut and we call it plt. So here we have a warning, so it's not it's not a problem, just imported and not used, but now we are going to use this package here. And in order to create a plot, okay, we have to use our package we imported, the plt, and the command is the plot command, and the round brackets here for the definition what we want to plot. So, okay, we have x and y usually, and x and y are but not defined, but we can use here for x, okay, the part of our array, especially the first column, and that means here we take all rows, all lines, okay, of the array, and the first column, okay, this is column number 0, and the same we will do for the ordinate, for the y values, but of course here we take the second column. So, and that's all. And now we run the program, and here we have our plot. So actually this doesn't look really nice, so we do not have any grid, we do not have any labels on the axis, and the numbers are much too small, and the line thickness is also too small, but doesn't matter. This is only special things I will give you. But here you can see that's all in order to plot our data based on our arrays. Okay, so that's all what you need for the next step we do together when we start with our material modeling based on Python. It would be nice when you have understand everything I have shown here until we start the lecture, the next lecture. Okay? Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.